In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do a basic skeleton on your hippo. So you can see here from the perspective view, I've got a very basic hippo body, and I'm going to add a skeleton to it. So here we go into the side view, take the skeleton tool, the joint tool, reset it so that it's a X, Y, and Z orientation. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the side view, and I'm going to put the first joint here on the hip, 1, 2, onto the ankle, down to the foot, hold down, shift, onto the toe, into that. So we've got one leg. And you'll see in the hypergraph, you'll see there's a joint for this skeleton. So what we're going to do is we're going to name this one. I'm going to call this hip, left leg, belonging to the actual character, hip. Okay, and then this one I'm going to rename left underscore knee. Okay, and then the following one down, I'm going to go rename that left underscore ankle. And then this one I'm going to rename left underscore ball. And then the last one, rename left underscore toe. So okay, now I can't stress enough how important it is to start naming everything and then getting into a good naming convention. Well, I'm going to do, otherwise things can get really difficult to manage. So here we have the left skeleton leg in position, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to mirror the joint over, mirror the joint here. So I'm going to have the behavior of the joint mirrored over, because if you've got the orientation, it can be more difficult to animate equally. I'd rather the behaviors on, because if you I can show you the orientation in class, but the behavior is a better one. So we're changing LFT to replace the RGT. We'll mirror this over, and we have automatically RGT, all the right leg. We've got the hip, the knee, the ankle, the ball, and the toe, which is very good. It does a lot of work for you. So let's go into the skeletons, the back. So let's see. I'm going to start with the root joint here, and then we're going to go here to the stomach, the abs, and the chest, and then we're going to have here a sort of collar. Then we're going to go to the neck, and then that's the lower neck, upper neck, and to the head, and into that skeleton. Now remember, if you want to change any of these joints, you can hit the selected joint and hit D, and you can move them up or down if you want them to get into position, correct position, how you want placement to be. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to name all these straight away. So if I go in here and rename that, I'm going to call that the root. This one here, I'm going to call it rename, I'll call it spine 1. This one, rename spine 2. Next one, spine 3. Okay. This one here, we're going to call this a collar. Collar. Next one is the lower neck. Lower neck. And the next one, rename upper neck. And then the last one, rename head. Okay, so you can see it's the top of the head. So we've got all of these. If I go into the front view, you'll see here we've got all of these right down the spine. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the arms. So if we go into the front view, we can add arms for this. So what I'm going to do, again, go back to the skeleton joint. I'm going to take one here for the clavicle, down here to the shoulder, down to the elbow, down to the wrist, and then one for the hand. So I'm going to enter that. So let's have a look at it in the top view, and you'll see it's straight down here, down the arm into the hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down by using the arrow keys up and down. I'm going to go down the root system to the child, and I'm going to hit D, and I'm going to move this over a little bit, down a little bit, move it forward a little bit into the wrist into position. You really want to have a slight bend on the arm when you're creating the arm. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mirror that joint. So we've already set up the mirror joint orientation, and it should automatically mirror over to the other side. If you're not happy with the position of it, you can easily move it over a little bit if you want to move it over a bit, but that's it there. Just check that's looking good in regards to your geometry. Looking fine. I think it could go down a little bit. So we'll go down a little bit here. I've been playing around with this hippo and it's not completely symmetrical. So here we go. I've got it fairly well as the previous one. And that's your spine. So I'm going to have a look at the front view. We can see if I'm right or I'm wrong. And I think I'm completely wrong. That's it. Done. We've mirrored it over and it's joined it, which is not what I want when I did the mirroring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here. You can see here this is mirrored over, and what's wrong is I didn't name it, so I should have I didn't name it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this apart. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to go back to my original joints. It's quite good for you to see how I'm repairing mistakes that I've made. Not that I'm getting distracted or anything by anybody walking into my studio just now. So I'm going to name these, and I'm going to go left shoulder. Actually, I want to call that clavicle. Okay, this one here, I'm going to rename left underscore shoulder. Okay, I'm going to, next one, rename left underscore elbow. Okay, and this one, rename left underscore wrist, and double click on that, and then rename left underscore palm. Right, okay, so then I'm going to take that and then I'm going to mirror the geometry, and of course it doesn't join that, which is much better. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to parent these to the collar. So if I look in here, you can see there's a spline, there's a collar. If I select the collar joint, it's there. It's a bit lower than what I wanted it to be, but what I can move it up if I want to. So if I go like this and move that joint up there, and if I'm not happy with it on the side, of course I can move it forward that back a little bit. Move that down a little bit. So we're going to parent these. There's the collar. Go back to the front view. And it's a collar joint. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to select this clavicle, shift and select the parent and hit P to parent. Select a child, shift and select a parent and hit P to parent. I'm going to do exactly the same on the hips. So I'm going to select this, shift and select the root and hit P to parent. This one, shift and select this and hit P to parent. So we have one complete skeleton all in position. Go in here. Now that's a very basic skeleton. It's ideal for encouraging you to do naming conventions correctly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to it the IK handle. So I'm going to go into the IK handle, and if I reset the tool, it's a single chain solver. We want you to have the rotate plane solver. So I want you to go in here, select this joint and that joint, enter, and then I want to do exactly the same on this one. Like this and this, and you've got an enter, and you've got your rotate solver. You'll see that when I do this, you can move and bend from the heel and bend the knee. Just undo that using the IK handle, and you would have the same from the shoulder IK handle. So I'm going to have from the shoulder to the wrist as an IK, and at the end you can move that to move the joint, bend the arm, move the arm forward, bend it back and forward, and then out with the arm. These are just basic movements for you to give you an idea of the very beginnings of skeleton building. There's more complex ones which you'll be taken through step by step, but this is the first one to get you into the sort of practice of looking at the structure that you've built and using the hierarchical structure here and the hypograph, and naming everything, naming all your joints, mirroring them over and adding some IK handles. You could go ahead and try that, put an IK handle on the other arm. This is the end of this first skeleton building tutorial.